We are Anka. Stay tuned for updated real news.
Hello, Anka Daily News viewers. We continue to bring you the most striking developments of the war. Recent events give important signals about the course of the war. In this struggle, where borders are no longer drawn only by front lines, the parties are trying new methods to deal strategic blows to each other. Unexpected attacks can change the course of the war, and these developments have not only military but also psychological consequences. Ukraine's latest move has struck a chord in the heart of Russia. It was much more than an ordinary attack. The targeted point was one of the command centers, one of the cornerstones of Russian military power, so to speak. Ukraine's operation has shaken the perception of security within Russia and seems poised to affect the balance on the front line. In response to Russia's attacks in the long-running war, Ukraine has now started to make sound moves on enemy territory. But the effects of this offensive have not only been military. While the authorities in Russia are trying to minimize the effects of this situation on the population, it is argued that the attack reveals significant weaknesses in Russia's defense systems. Ukraine's move could be a critical development in understanding the extent to which Russian military planning has been shaken. In the coming minutes, we'll delve deeper into the details of this attack, the significance of the targeted area, and the repercussions for Russia. Was this Ukrainian operation just an attack, or is it the first step in a much larger strategy? We'll cover all aspects of the developments. Before we get to our report, though, a quick reminder: the Anka Daily News team is definitely real. None of my team members or me are artificial intelligence. Even though AI is very advanced, it's still not as good as us. By the way, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss our daily reports and explanations. We do read all the comments you leave on our videos, so please continue to share your ideas about our content. Tell us in the comments what content you'd like to see on the Anka Daily News channel. And now let us begin if you're ready. Anka Daily News reports. Since the beginning of the war, Ukraine has continued to launch attacks on critical military targets in Russian-occupied territories and across the border. The latest operation in Kursk Oblast has once again demonstrated Kyiv's offensive capacity and Russia's defense weaknesses. The attacks, especially targeting command centers, directly affect the Russian army's battle management and weaken its coordination at the front. On Monday, a high-precision strike by the Ukrainian Air Force hit a Russian command center near the village of Novoivanovka. The General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine announced that as a result of the strike, the command facility was severely damaged and there were significant casualties among the Russian soldiers inside. Ukraine says that when planning such operations, it takes the utmost care to avoid civilian casualties. Prior to this attack, Ukrainian troops had carried out an operation against another Russian command center in the Kursk city of Rilsk. This attack, which took place on Friday, reportedly targeted Russian military officials as well as North Korean officers. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky said in a statement after the attack, "A powerful operation was carried out by our military. They attacked the central command center in the Kursk direction, and they lost key officers of Russian and North Korea," Zelensky said. These developments in Kursk show that Ukraine is increasingly expanding its operation inside Russia. In particular, Kyiv aims to disrupt Russia's war management by targeting command centers and logistics lines, while the concept of cross-border attacks and targeting critical infrastructure is becoming increasingly prominent in Ukraine's military strategy. The Russian military is struggling to develop an effective defense against these attacks. Ukraine's recent airstrikes have revealed serious deficiencies in Russia's air defense systems in its border regions. Although the Kursk region is close to Russia's border with Ukraine, it has failed to provide effective protection against Kyiv's drone and missile attacks. This has raised serious questions about the capacity of Moscow's air defense systems. While Russia has planned to quickly take over Ukraine with the large-scale offensive it launched in the first months of the war, it's now struggling to defend its own territory. Ukraine's increasing airstrikes have exposed Russia's security gaps and intelligence weaknesses in its border regions. The increase in airstrikes, especially in Kursk, Belgorod and Bryansk, has put Russian military authorities in a difficult situation. Although Moscow is trying to deploy new air defense systems to prevent these attacks, Ukraine's mobile attack tactics and advanced drone technologies managed to overcome Russian defenses. Moreover, Russia's inability to respond immediately to these attacks helps Ukraine increase its initiative on the battlefield. The Kursk operation, launched by Kyiv on August the 6th, came as a shock to Russia. Taking advantage of the weak defenses on the Russian border, the Ukrainian army announced that it had taken control of an area of about 500 square miles. This was one of the largest Ukrainian operations on Russian territory since the beginning of the war. Since then, Ukraine has reportedly held its positions in Kursk. Russia's efforts to recapture this region seem to have been fruitless so far. Ukraine continues to strengthen its defense lines and disrupt Russia's offensive plans with cross-border operations. These developments in Kursk could change the dynamics of the war. If Ukraine continues to weaken Russia's military presence in the border regions, Moscow's frontline logistical support and command capacity could be seriously undermined. As a result, Russian military operations inside Ukraine could become more difficult. Ukraine's operations in Kursk and Russia's losses along the border suggest that Moscow is facing a new crisis. While Russia is unable to make progress on the Ukrainian front, it must cope with increasing attacks on its own territory. This could turn the tide of the war in Ukraine's favor. As the war enters its third year, Ukraine has further developed its military capacity and started to threaten Russia's border security. It remains to be seen how Russia will respond to these attacks, but it seems that Ukraine's strategic moves are making Moscow's war plans more and more difficult. What do you think? Do you think Russia will be able to liberate Kursk from the Ukrainian army? How do you assess the Ukrainian army's critical offensives? Let us know in the comments. We read and care about your points of view.